The cameras in our smartphones are generally pretty smart. They work out things like shutter speed and ISO sensor sensitivity for us so we can concentrate on composition and timing. But the shot I'm going to try today, some smoke trails from these incense sticks, means that I'm going to have to abandon my camera's automatic mode and venture into the murky world of manual mode. Now, before I set this shot up, let's have a talk about manual mode. Most phones have a version of this. It might be called different things though. So on this phone here, there's a few, there's portrait mode and so on. It's none of those. I've got to go into a little menu on this one, and it's actually called expert mode. Let's go in and have a look at that. And then across the bottom here, there are a few different settings. The ones that I'm most interested in really for this shoot, first of all, it's the focusing mode. Now, this is on MF at the moment, which is what I want. So MF is manual focus. And as we know, cameras want to focus at different focal lengths. Generally speaking, phones, automatic modes are okay, and you can adjust it by tapping, but it can hunt and take a few seconds to find focus. For this shoot, I actually want to be quite precise with my focus, and that's how I do it in here, just by sliding this along. We will set focus when we've actually got the scene set up. The other setting is exposure. Now, exposure is actually two different settings grouped together. The first one is the shutter speed, the amount of time that light is allowed to hit the sensor. That can go all the way from 1/8,000th of a second, which is a very, very quick exposure indeed, and doesn't let a lot of light in, all the way up to 16 seconds, which is very long indeed. I'm going to try around about 1/400th of a second. The other thing is what we call ISO. And this is the sensitivity of the sensor, how much power is chucked into the camera sensor to try and capture the light. At 100, which is usually the lowest, it's actually not all that sensitive to light. So you need to have a really bright exposure, really bright subject, all the way up to 6400 ISO. The higher that ISO number, the more noise creeps into the shot, the less clean a shot it is. So generally we try and keep this number relatively low. Again, the camera will adjust these automatically. I don't want it to do that because I'm after a particular look for this shot. So I'm going to try and keep it at 100. I'm going to manually set my focus, and because the smoke from these incense sticks is going to be moving fairly quickly, I'm going to have a fairly fast shutter speed as well. Right, let's set this shot up. I've got these incense sticks. I'm on my dining room table. I don't want to burn it with hot ash. So I've got a placemat just here. And I know you can get holders for incense sticks and so on, but I just want to have a bit more flexibility there as well. So I've got a lump of blue tack, Play-Doh, whatever. I'm just going to stick it in there so I can adjust the height of it very easily, and I can adjust the position quite easily as well. So pop that on there. I want to have a background of some sort as well. So I've raided the stationery cupboard, and I've got just this black clipboard, a bit of paper, a wall, whatever would do for you. But I'm just going to lean that very crudely around the back there. Now, this is dark. It's not perfectly black, but that's not going to matter because in a moment, I'm going to turn the lights right down. Now, in order to make this work, a couple of other things. I'm going to put my camera into a little tripod holder. I've used this quite a lot before. It means that I'm not having to try and balance my phone while I'm playing around with other bits and bobs. My phone is in a static position, more or less, letting me get a nice steady shot. Speaking of steady shots, shutter release, also known as a pair of headphones. Again, I've used these quite a lot before, and that makes it just a little bit easier for me to capture the image rather than pressing a button on the screen. And also it means that it's going to be a nice steady shot without any wobble by pressing the button here, because this one's going to be all about the timing as well, I think, as the manual exposure. The final thing I'm going to need is a bit of light Normal torch would do the job. One of these light cubes are really handy for this though, because what I'm going to be doing with a really low exposure set manually on the phone, I'm going to be using the light to capture only what I want to capture. Everything behind here, including this background, will disappear, and I'm going to be backlighting to capture these smoke vapor trails as they rise into the sky. That's the theory. Let's see if it works, and to do that, I'm going to need to turn the lights down. Told you this torch would come in handy, but I'm not going to be using it to light me. I'm going to be using it to light my subject here. So with the exposure settings, manual exposure settings that we dialed into the phone, this scene is completely dark. First thing I need to do is to find focus. I mean, we're on manual focusing mode here. So what I'm going to do is to get my lighter, just shine a bit of light on that so we can see. I'm going to put it more or less where I think the smoke is going to be rising up from. So just shine a bit of light in there and then adjust this focusing dial here, and seems to be about 0.86. I think that number's fairly arbitrary, to be honest with you, but I'll remember it because it might be useful when I want to reset this shot later on. But that there, assuming that's where the smoke from this incense stick is going to be coming, that's going to be in focus. Let's give it a go. Let's light this stick. Obviously, fire, be careful. It's going to zoom into about 1.5 or something. Right, so I'm not seeing any smoke at the moment. It's a bit disappointing. So let's just give it a little blow. There we go. So just excite the air a little bit and then find where that smoke is coming from. Now, again, top lighting or lighting from the back seems to work the best. If I shine from the camera to the background, then I can see the background and I kind of go smooth through the smoke. No, I want to light top down, and as you can see here, that's when I can start to see the lovely patterns that are made by this smoke. So again, just excite the air a little bit, make a little bit of action happen, and that's when you start to see the smoke patterns fill up. And just kind of tap away at that a little bit, make sure the focus is still set. There we are. Just move the incense stick around a little bit to make sure it's kind of in the middle of your frame a bit as well. Again, just be conscious of the focal plane that you've set up. There we go, that's quite nice. And that nice plume of smoke that's coming up there. What I have found is that the smoke almost follows where the light goes. And look at those patterns. Wow, look at those patterns. That's incredible. Right, again, just go up and down. Let's move the light over there a little bit. Wow, it looks like a kind of jellyfish or an X-ray or something that you might see through a telescope when you're peering into the Milky Way. I love it. What I am going to try is just changing one of these exposure settings, because I'm getting quite a lot, but I want to see if I can get a bit more light in there. So I'm going to change, not the ISO, I'm going to go the shutter speed. I'm going to take it from where I was, 400, down to, let's say, 200. Let me do 200. Okay, let's see what difference just changing that shutter speed makes. So let's have another little blow on here. There we go. And, oh wow, so you can see now that extra bit of light that's come through that is now being let onto the sensor, resulting in much brighter images of the smoke. What I'm hoping that's not doing is letting too much of the background in, but no, I think that's looking quite nice. That looks really good. See, I don't mind the torch, the light being in the shot, actually. There's something quite otherworldly about that. Go up and down, excite the smoke a little bit, make a bit of drama happen. What I really like about them is that there's so much variety in this rich blue. We've got the black background, which is almost invisible, which is great, so that I am entirely focused on the foreground. And it strikes me that something as simple as a bit of smoke from an incense stick can be surprisingly beautiful when it's nicely captured, isolated and lit like this. Have fun. Be careful, but have fun trying this.